We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires.
So when TC and I moved here just over 3 years ago, we found what I call the Goldilocks town, a Goldilocks neighborhood. Not too big, not too small. It was just what we were looking for. You know, we tend to think of neighborhoods as being a particular location, but neighborhoods have a place in time as well as a place geographically. This neighborhood wouldn't be the same if it were not for those people who came here before us, who laid out these streets that they said they wanted to make wide enough that you could turn your horse and buggy around.
We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth.
Coming under the tunnel, we emerge out onto the trial gardens. These gardens have been here since 1925, the same year that the Fort Collins High School was first built. We're turning onto Remington Street. Mr. Remington was the first postmaster of Fort Collins. We're going to be coming up on the dog park. This is the very first place that we stopped after driving 2,000 miles from North Carolina. We had no idea that we would end up living just a block away from the park. John Matthews, who was the first justice of the peace, he had a jail up near LaPorte. His first tenants there were a pair of horse thieves who promptly broke out and stole his horse. There's Henry Clay Peterson. We're about to cross Peterson Street where we live, and he had a brick business. He had the first brick factory here in Fort Collins. There was Ben Wedby. We are about to turn onto Wedby Street. He had the first drugstore in northern Colorado up in Old Town. He was the first mayor of Fort Collins. I guess it's not a coincidence that the high school was built a mile south of town, while most of the city's Hispanic residents, those who worked in the beet fields and the sugar beet factories and such, all lived north of town. Do they have access to the same education? How does that shape our history here? Mariano Rodena was the first settler of European descent to come to these parts. He was Hispanic, and most people of Hispanic descent were not even allowed into downtown Fort Collins for much of its history. There were signs, no dogs, no Mexicans, white trade only, that lasted in Fort Collins up until just about 50 years ago. That too is part of our history, something we need to reckon with. Our neighborhoods are shaped by the choices that were made by those who came before us, the choices that were denied to others who also came, and now we are part of that history as well, the living history of Fort Collins, and our choices will shape the neighborhoods that are yet to come, that we will still be a part of for many years to come.
It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now. What a time to be alive.
Hi, we're the Mitchells. Thank you so much for letting us share our wonderful neighborhood of University Acres with you. I'm James.
Angela. I'm Brooklyn. I'm Jossy. And this is our dog, Mosey.
Mosey.
This is our house, and we really love our neighborhood, so we're going to show you around. One of the best parts about our neighborhood is the neighbors. So we love our neighbors so much that when a windstorm blew our fence down a couple years ago, we just decided to keep it. So we have our backyard and then our neighbor's backyard open to each other so we can hang out and build community all the time. Our neighbors like to draw on their garage door with chalk, and if you can see, it says love conquers all. We're not too far from PBH, so we get a lot of nurses and healthcare workers.
It's a sign that our neighbors made.
Yeah, so our neighbors have this lovely creature out front that says thank you to all essential workers. So as those healthcare workers walk by and other folks, they get to see it. And people in our neighborhood really do amazing things with flowers. That's right, everybody, stop and smell the roses. Another cool part about our neighborhood, it is home to Harris Bilingual Immersion School. It's a public school, part of PSD. They take half students from Spanish-speaking families. For those families, it's School of Need, and half students from English-speaking families. And for those, you choice in, and it's a lottery.
I love of all the quiet and calm streets that we can ride our bikes on. And me and my sister love to ride our bikes around this neighborhood.
So thanks for letting us share with you. Hope you all are well in your neighborhoods.
Bye.
Bye.
What a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
Hi, I'm Lisken Hays. My husband Jamie and I live here in Loveland. We moved here 2 years ago this summer. I love the neighborhood we live in, the community. We're just on the west side of Loveland, and we're zoned farm, so we can have chickens, and we have a rooster and ducks, and can do a lot of gardening. I have a hoop house out in the back. I have my tomato plants over here. I've got garden boxes in the front, and then I've got my carrots growing in what used to be a top bar beehive. But we have a different hive in the back now. We know most of the neighbors on our street and enjoy interacting with them. And we're new to Foothills as well. Not new to the UU Church, but looking forward to spreading courageous love in northern Colorado with you guys. Even though we're new to Loveland, in terms of living here, it feels super comfortable to me because this is where my mom's family settled at the turn of the century from Germany. So my mom's uncle ran the Loveland Creamery, and I remember as a kid getting cheese curds and, root beer popsicles and things like that, and they had grapevines out in back, and we would pick the grapes and smash them like we were making wine and things like that. It was super fun. So a lot of holidays were spent with family in this area. My mom's cousin taught kindergarten here, so just really love it and looking forward to new community opportunities as we get familiar with Foothills and all the wonderful things going on there.
We shall be known by the company we keep.
I'm Ardith Kerst. I live in the City Park neighborhood on Oak Street. This is my house. I love living here because I love old houses. I love big old trees. I've been here a while. People have moved in with little children, babies were born, and now next door those babies are in high school. So I love that. For me personally, best of all is right next door lives one of my children, but the jewel of the neighborhood is City Park. It used to be way west of the city of Fort Collins and started out when some people from Mercer County, Pennsylvania came to form a colony. And they started digging a ditch for the colony, and then most of them went back home and the ditch stopped. But that ditch is now called the Mercer Ditch, I think, and goes through the City Park 9. And then the next person who owned it was a man named Sheldon, who decided to have himself a sheep ranch here. He brought in some sheep from Mexico, and he started digging Sheldon Lake over there, which didn't have that name then. And that is how we got the hill in the middle of City Park. The dirt that was dug out to create Sheldon Lake created that hill. The first part of last century, the city had a couple of little parks and decided it was growing so much they needed to buy this land west of the city. So they bought this land from the farmer, and Sheldon Lake was the centerpiece of this new park. And I think about 1912 they said, this is officially City Park. And then they bought a racetrack, which was, I think, horses, down where there's a tennis court now. One of the best things about City Park neighborhood, it's full of Unitarians.
I'm Polly Walter. I live on Grandview Avenue, across the street from the cemetery, which happens to have a 1-mile lap all the way around it, so it's great to walk there. The other thing about walking in the park, in the cemetery park, is that if you are careful, you will see that a couple of weeks ago some children hid some painted stones at the base of many trees, and they're brightly colored. If you found the right stone, you pick it up and turn it over, and it has a little message on the other side. But put it back so that other people can find them too. We also, last week, had another visit from another bear, and we were sitting out on our back deck having lunch when this little guy went ambling down the alley. Birders love to come to the cemetery. So we have a great horned owl that nests every year in the cemetery. This part, City Park, is old, and the trees are old. There's a lot of foliage, and there's lovely stuff. I have golf balls from walking around along the 3rd and the 4th fairways. This is not as many as I usually find in a day, but it's a good start. The cemetery is astonishingly busy and alive. It is not a quiet, dreary, morbid, dead space. It's just remarkably vibrant with people in it and animals in it and things going on, and everybody smiles and waves when they walk by. It's a wonderful capstone to this phenomenal neighborhood that's City Park.
I love this neighborhood. I am right across the street from City Park. Love the environment there. It actually is an arboretum designated in the 1990s, and it has over 100 variety of trees there. So I have a lot of trees in my yard. One of the things that I really love about my house is this front porch where I have access to friends who come here to the porch and to people who walk by on the sidewalk. I love the house. I love the setting in which the house is. But all of those would, oh dear, this kind of makes me weepy.
Yeah?
Yeah, because it's so important to me. All of those two things would be rather meaningless if it weren't for the neighbors in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Our Unitarian population goes from Mulberry to Mountain and all around this area. We really need to emphasize how important the people who live here are. Kind, caring, always available. My next door Unitarian, Ron, found a fire underneath my arbor and called me at 2 a.m, and I was so tired I said, well, Ron, would you just put it out? And he did. I think it gives an opportunity to talk to other people when we do not have someone in our dwelling to talk to about very significant things in our lives. Not everyone is a Unitarian, but they act like Unitarians. I feel so much gratitude for the people living here. I could live in a tent here as long as I had my people. Most of us have been here for quite a long time because we value each other so much.
This great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.